Welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour's Golden Hour. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Susan, how are you? So glad to be back.
Really excited. And if you haven't done it yet, now's the time, people. You got to follow our podcast so you never miss anything that we do. Just search for Bachelor Happy Hour in the podcast app and hit the follow button, and you'll get to Golden Hour.
I mean, I don't know how many times do we have to say this, Susan, before people figure it out every time. But guys, when you follow the podcast, you'll get notified every time there's a new podcast, and you don't want to miss one episode. So follow us, and while you're there, leave a review.
Yes, absolutely. We love it. And send in your questions. But you got to check out some of our past ones because we were on a roll, were we not, Kathy? We had some really good stuff. We've been having so much fun answering your questions. So please keep them coming. And all you have to do is submit them to bachelornation.com/golden hour. We have some great questions today and some extremely special guests.
And I hope everyone heard that word guests because we have a really exciting episode today that we have just been waiting for this episode for so long. Our kids are joining us. Yeah. Susan's daughter, Brittany, is here, and my son, Kyle, and his wife, Candy, are here as well. We can't wait to have some fun today with everyone. Hi, guys. How are you all doing?
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank
it's you. Like a family reunion.
It is a family reunion. I don't know, Susan, you need to start this off because as everyone knows, or should know by now, you officiated Kyle and Candy's wedding.
Okay, guys, give me a rating on how I did for your wedding.
We were really happy with you. It was such a special day, and you made it just that much more so. It was really fantastic.
Were we immediate friends and family, or what?
I think so.
Right?
Your energy
felt like that.
Beautiful.
You were kind of like Kathy. I feel like you just haven't really met a stranger ever. It was very easy to.
Excuse me, it's mom to you, Kyle. It's mom, not Kathy.
And Brittany. I know you talk to Kathy a lot on the phone. You've guided Kathy through our Instagram accounts and such. Now you see her, not that you have it by FaceTime, but that's Kathy.
Yes. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, Brittany. I just want to say, for those of you who can't see these beautiful women, Brittany and Candy,
they're gorgeous.
Even though they're both married, they should be bachelorettes. Why? Because they both have gorgeous hair. Both of them. It's ridiculous. Okay, so I want to hear about your kids. Brittany, how many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids, 2 teenagers, 14 and soon to be 12. And then I have a 3-year-old.
Oh, how's that?
Doesn't she?
Lee is my 3-year-old, and she is very independent right now. She's like a 3-nager, is what I call it. The teenagers, and the will, but just not quite there yet.
You know Brittany, it's going to get a lot tough.
Explain one thing about her, because I don't know how to put this into words. My granddaughter, Tovi, Tovii, a V, like Victor. She takes things apart. I think she's going to be some kind of a scientist or something. How about what she does?
She's like an engineer.
Yeah.
She tinkers. So if somebody's playing with a toy, she has to take the whole thing apart and see the insides and then put it back together. And she'll test it to show you, like, yes, this is sturdy, this is correct, and it's usable again. But she had to know how the whole thing worked.
It's great. She takes toilets apart. I mean, Candy, what about your boys? Were
so
they
wait,
like that?
Kyle and Candy, you have how many kids between you?
4.
What? Tell me what. I know the answer, but the world doesn't. So
I know the answer.
We have 4. So Candy has 3 boys from a previous marriage, and I have a daughter from a previous marriage.
The angel.
The angel Lindley.
So it's
the little angel Lindley, who has my middle name. So I want to know, guys, tell me how it is raising 4 kids. Like, Kyle, you went from 1 to 4. Candy, you've had 3 boys, and now you have this adorable little girl. I may be just a little prejudiced here, but how's it going raising all those kids?
It's a lot of work. So many schedules. So yeah. But Kyle and I are a really great team.
Oh,
Aw.
oh.
Yeah, it makes it much easier.
Kind of have to be with 4 kids.
I
You
don't
have
know.
to have a schedule. I know that.
Oh my God. This year we counted it. We're going to have 4 kids across 3 different school districts. So that's going to be exciting.
Wait, one thing I want Brittany to share this. I love this moment. My daughter has called me, not on one occasion, and more recent, since their children are this age, and has apologized and said, "Mom, tell them what you said."
I always say, I'm so sorry. And thank you for just, she did something when I was younger that kind of it helped, and I do it with my kids. I will react as a parent, and then also as someone who's been that age or has gone through something similar. So that was helpful, and I've passed that on because I don't want to be too harsh and keep with the times, with the phones and the social media and everything. So that's been helpful. But
Okay,
It was
so wait a
such a
minute.
moment when she said, "I'm so sorry for what I
sorry.
put you through." How
Susan,
did
I
you
have to
do
interrupt
it?
for 1 second. Kyle, do you have something to say to me?
I love you.
Okay, no
It's a
apologies coming
daughter
from
thing.
no apologies coming from this one.
I've apologized many times before for my childhood.
But I love that they get it. So what we did, Kathy, we didn't do it all right, but we did something right because they're experiencing it now, as you two are as well. They try you.
Yeah.
They really do. And
But you know what?
when
I don't
you guys realize that we deserve credit for making it through that time, we love that.
resiliency.
I don't think we give our kids enough credit, though. Kyle knows, Candy, I love my kids. But, Kyle, you're doing a great job. And Brittany, I know your mom thinks you are. It's hard raising kids. You guys you're all doing such a great job.
And we're
You are.
so glad we're grandparents.
Okay, I want to know, we got to move to the show here. I want to know, all of you, 3 of you, what was it like watching your moms, Candy, mother-in-law, look for love on TV? What do you think, Brittany? What was it like?
Oh, I was living through her. I thought it was fantastic. I was her biggest fan, like fangirling. I fell in love with all of the women. Like you, I fell in love. I've talked to all of you, became best friends.
Yeah. What about
But
you,
it was-
Kyle? What about you?
It was kind of surreal. I was remembering when I was a kid and I did like some TV commercial stuff, and it was weird seeing myself on TV, and then seeing my mother on TV was just kind of weird. And then when I was at the fire station, we were like watching the show, and they were like, "Hey, that's Kyle's mom." And I don't know. It was odd. I think the bigger thing for me has been like when we've been out and about, and like we were just up in New York, and people were coming up to you in upstate New York, like, "Yo, you're Kathy from Golden Bachelor," and that's been kind of surreal as well.
Well,
Yeah.
what about you, Candy?
Yeah, that too. That at like every place we go to, there's at least a few people that are like, "Hey, I've been watching you," and not kind of creepy, but whatever.
And they spanned all age groups, because we had like younger, like early 20s, and then we had a woman that was like in her 70s, like everybody in between.
Yeah. And watching both of you on the show was really what an experience. I just felt excited and like proud, and it just
Were
felt
you ever upset? Like, why did she do that? Why did she say? My sons would be telling a different story than my daughter. I
I'm
know.
sorry. For those of you who didn't watch the show, Susan talked something about 6 inches was fine with her. You mean that comment?
My daughter
Susan?
did a remake on her Instagram.
Brittany, did that
It was
embarrass you?
funny.
Did that embarrass you, Brittany?
No, I don't think she could. I don't know. When you grow up in my family, everyone just deals with it. So we were kind of always in the spotlight for some reason. So, and she looks, you guys, the Jenner Kardashian thing had me going crazy. And I just love the girl power, the camaraderie that you guys had on the whole show, just how supportive you were, and the friendships that you've made that have made it continuously this long, and just lifelong friendships. That's amazing.
Did your
you did
daughter?
You did have to talk your brother off the ledge a couple times, though, right? Make him
Yes.
see it straight.
Very used to doing this.
So wait, I have to say, when I put myself forward to go on the show, Kyle and my older son Douglas and Candy, they were all very supportive of me doing it. Oh, Mom, you deserve to find love. It's great. My daughter thought it was great for about the first two
Until you got
interviews.
accepted.
And then it was like, Mom, you're going to call this off, right? You're not going through with this, are you? But do you remember that, Kyle?
Very, very much so. And I mean, I think we were all supportive of you and happy for you. I think it took Caitlin some time to sort of, figure things out. But I think once she kind of saw you doing it and enjoying yourself and how much fun you had and all the positive experiences that came from it, I think she kind of came around.
So
Kyle's-
genuinely, you're all happy for us.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
School year, an opportunity. Are you tired of a fruity drink in your
My mom growing up was always the one.
So how do you feel about us having a podcast and talking about sex and relationships and romance? And
I just want to say that this is funny to me because my mom growing up was always the one. She'd get some electronic device and then she's like, I can do it. And then 2 minutes later, she'd be asking me to show her how to do something simple. So the fact
We
that
still
she
do.
has a podcast is actually still kind of mind blowing to me.
because they set it all up for us, Kyle. We
Wait,
just
I
have
can
to
put on
talk.
headphones. I can put on headphones. What are you talking
No,
about?
not well, Kath.
I don't
The
think you knew what a
beginning,
podcast
you
was a
can't
couple
hear
years ago.
I didn't know what an influencer was, Kyle. I knew what a podcast was, just not what an
They've
influencer.
come a long way.
All right,
You
wait.
asked
I
Brittany.
want.
She has schooled us on that.
That's right. Brittany has helped me put stuff on my Instagram. She's been great. Okay, I have a question. Can we just talk about Brittany? You, I don't know if your husband's older or younger than you.
I'm 12 days older.
Oh, well,
I am.
that's interesting because Candy is 10 years older than Kyle. She doesn't look it. He looks 10 years older. I love you,
So
Kyle.
I have hope.
We all have hope. So here's the question. I want to know, Kyle and Candy, and then I'm going to ask you, Brittany, what was going on in your head? You met online, I think. This is what they've told me. Like, I can't get a guy 10 minutes older than I am to look at me. So what was the deal, Candy? What was the draw here? Kyle, what were you doing looking at women 10 years your senior? I want the truth. I want the world. Bachelor
Were you
Nation.
swiping and it was a picture during
Yeah.
a swipe that caught your eye, or
And no one's
what you
listening,
read?
Kyle. No one's listening but the few of us right
Just
here.
the
So
world,
spill.
and not
Just
yet,
Spill. Spill.
You want to go first?
No, you go.
So so we met on Hinge, on the app, dating app Hinge, and for me, I remember it obviously. I mean, I think the first thing you see is the picture. So obviously, initially, there has to be some degree of physical attraction, and she was beautiful, and is beautiful, and. But then I started reading her stuff, and it was just very intriguing what she had written, what I could see. And so I remember seeing the age on there, and I was like, well, this is a little bit older than I've branched out to. And also, why not try something new and different? And so I just kind of took a shot, and we started talking and just kind of hit it off from there. So to me, it was
She
kind
is
of taking a shot in the dark a little bit.
She's well written, though, right? She is a teacher. Am I right?
No,
to
she's
say that?
she's a professional. What are you, Candy?
I'm a
I know
professional.
you can write.
Yeah, I'm a therapist and a school counselor.
That's what it was. I knew the school was in there somewhere. But she got you good.
Yeah, so it was funny. Our first date, we still laugh about it. It was several hours, and we got into very deep
Conversation.
talks about a lot of things where I think a lot of people might have been scared off on the first date, but I think that was something that was mutually attractive to both of us, that we were so easily able to kind of just open up and talk about these things that were pretty deep and personal.
And
Okay,
then you
so-
never even thought about her age from that point, right?
I really don't think about it now.
It's
The other
just
time
a
I really think-
number.
The only time I think about it is when she points out that, like my mom did, that like sometimes I kind of maybe act older or look older.
Wait, I want to know, Candy, when, and then I'm going to ask you, Brittany, so get your answer ready. Candy, when did you know he was the one?
Oh,
Oh, do you love it? Oh, that's a
They
newlywed.
still love each
That's a
other.
newlywed.
I
Oh,
Where's JJ?
yeah. It was super early, really early.
Susan, there's hope for us. There's hope.
Yeah, we didn't follow any rules about
I don't either.
timelines or any of that business.
What about you? So early on, Candy?
Yeah, totally. Like
You're not
less
gonna-
than-
Less than a
Wow.
month?
You knew.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
Kyle, as well?
Yeah, we both talked about it. It was very quick and early on. And what's funny about it is she was talking about the timelines. Like I've done that in the past, and my family was very skeptical because they've seen that before. And I think that this is very different, and I think they've started to see that it's very different.
Oh, yeah.
But
I will say nationally to anyone, Bachelor Nation, Kyle's being very kind to his mother here. When Kyle met Candy, as you all know, my husband passed away by suicide, and holidays were really tough for us. And Kyle met Candy in like September, October, and we didn't know that. And he wanted to invite her for Christmas, and Kyle's sister, Caitlin, and I were like, no, we were not nice about it because family holidays were really tough. And now that we know you, Candy, we love you, and I
They
apologize.
take it all back.
We take it all back. You are lovely and we adore you. But yeah, that is very true. We were not ready for that. Okay, Brittany, what about you?
Wait. Brittany met
That's what I
on
want
a
to know.
dating app as well, right?
What did you,
Yes.
Brittany?
Tinder.
and you were here.
Where's
Yeah.
Tell
here?
them what happened. Tell them.
I think you were like looking and you were like, you need to get out of the house. I had just been divorced. I was a single mom of 2. And she wanted me to go out and just have a date, know what that felt like. And I went out, and I might have been a bit aggressive to JJ.
Wait a minute. Have you met Susan Knowles? Oh, go ahead.
Wait,
I
tell
was-
them about the first date, the art
Yeah,
museum
we stopped
stuff.
at her house, and my brothers were like all tatted muscles sitting out on the front porch smoking. They're like, "Who are you? What you got with my sister?" And I'm like, "Oh God!" So then we went out to eat, and we got to dinner, and I'm like, "Look, I have 2 kids. I'm divorced. I don't do this. I work for my community. I want this. I want a relationship. I want real. If you're not deep, go away. I will eat the food and eating the dinner, and you're paying for it. I'm not a salad girl." I'm like, no. This is what I want. And he didn't think I was crazy.
Wait,
so.
did you just say I'm not a salad girl?
Salad girl. She's
Yes,
having
I
a real
wanted
meal.
to eat
But
my
wait,
dinner. You
tell
pay
them
for
about
it.
the romantic part. He took her
So
to
the
the
third date, he took me to the steps in Philadelphia, the Rocky Steps, and he had a
Art
boombox
museum.
like radio in his pocket, and he called it the prom date. We all had a long dress on, and he slow danced with me on every step. And then when we got to the top, had like this big performance that he like had radios, and he swung me around and danced with me in front of everything. We didn't film any of it. We were very in the moment, but I was like, okay, Prince Charming, like, what is this?
So
What
when did you know
mommy
he was?
say? What you're like? I don't know. Mom go, no, Brittany.
Susan was
He's
like,
the
sign the
keeper.
bands. Marry him now. Wait a minute. So when did you know he was the one, Brittany?
Probably that night, but I was hyper cautious. He was a baseball player, and I had sworn up and down I would never date or marry a baseball player. And I promised my father.
But wait, for those of you who don't know, Brittany's father played professional baseball, just so
Yes.
people know.
So I was warned, but he's also a Virgo. He's my best friend. So that was it.
And
for
he
me.
loved your 2 children.
Absolutely. Like
Susan,
they're his-
are you feeling it all here? These little lovebirds here, like we're just sitting out in the cold, just
We get to go to St. Martin again. That's all. God, that's all we get.
yeah. We go to St. Martin, and Susan's yelling at me. I'm going to the nude beach. Yeah, it's great fun for me.
Not nude. Don't say that.
Excuse
Brittany
me.
knows.
Topless.
To everyone who loves Culver's, the feeling is mutual. When I'm serving you a Butterburger, I'm just as happy as you are. I almost get giddy when I...
with an apple and grapefruit and lavender scents at a nearby retail store.
Accidentally expose you to hackers your first year at LifeLock.com.
I was probably 16.
Of your birds and the bees talk.
LifeLock.com/iHeart to save up to 40%. Terms apply.
I have the next question.
All right, go.
What do all of you think of your birds and the bees talk when you were kids? What would you have done differently? Whoever wants to go first.
My birds and bees talk was when I was probably 16. And after, like, it didn't matter that talk was being had with me.
Because you already knew.
Yeah. And
They waited long. I didn't wait that
well,
long.
They were not my parents. They were my siblings, because I'm the youngest of four. And my siblings are 10, 11, and 13 years older than me.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we
You had a lot
Carl's
of parents.
Jr. Carl's Jr. And there were some green condoms that were given to me. And that
Why
is
were they green?
That's what color they were then, Kat.
They probably came from one of those little, coin dispenser things in the bathroom.
Remember that statement when I tell you something. Go ahead.
I'm just curious that Kyle knows that they dispense in the bathroom. Okay. What about you, Kyle?
I don't remember a birds and bees talk with you or Dad. I think my birds and the bees talk came from probably the internet and Victoria's Secret magazine.
Are you serious?
Stop it.
Kyle, your
Kathy,
father didn't.
I know you're old school and come from Boston, but really?
Kyle, you're throwing me under the bus here. Are you serious? I didn't call them little pee-pees and wee-wees. We called it peanuts. We had the conversation.
That has nothing to do with the birds and the bees.
I just don't remember a official talk or anything.
Oh, I'll share mine, but go ahead, Brittany, tell yours.
I mean, I've known everything about the beautiful anatomy since I've been very young, and I know the P goes in the V, or however you swing, that happens. And
I convinced my daughter to communicate so well when it was time that she started. It was one of the bases, not all the way. I'm laying there waiting for her to come home.
What the hell are you people talking
Wait
about?
Wait a minute. She comes in my room and tells me.
From my night out, I run and jump on her bed, and Mom, guess what?
I was like, oh my God.
I had to tell her.
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be old here. You had to tell her what?
Everything I ever did
When
in
she
my
got
life, I've
touched
always
the
told
first
my
time.
mom.
You told
She
your
comes
mother
home
when.
And she said, Mom, he felt my
Thank
boobs.
you,
I go,
Kyle, for
under
not
the
telling me.
bra or over the bra? She goes, over. Mom, I'm going to bed. I was like, oh my God.
Okay.
I would wake her up out of a dead sleep, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I just have to tell you something."
And
Kyle?
my boys are twins, right? They were pretty young. And I said to my husband, you're going to have the talk. They should refrain until they're married. I go, all right, boys, sit down. And I started, and I go, you know what no means? And they're like, Mom, seriously? I go, okay, let me just ask this. Are you embarrassed to purchase a condom? And they're both looking at each other. They're twins, laughing at me. I go, this is not funny. This needs to be serious. If you want it to end, let me get through this. They go, Mom, we buy them at the mall in the men's room. Like you said, Kyle. I go, what do you mean we buy them? You already bought them? I was late. They were like 12, 13. I don't know.
So you know what the deal here is. Parents wait. Kyle and Brittany and Candy, listen up. Parents wait too long to have conversations with their kids about drugs, alcohol, sex, because by the time you're having the talk with them, they've already done it all.
They did it.
Candy, am I right? You're the therapist. Am I right?
I mean, maybe for many. And I'm
Not
going to
for
say,
all.
Spoken like a true therapist.
we've already had that conversation with the boys, and they're 11, 13, and 16 now.
What have you told my perfect granddaughter, Lindley? What have you told her, Kyle?
She's too young.
we moderate things. We don't tell her things. We tell the boys, or we change the narrative a little bit to make it appropriate for a 5-year-old,
Yeah.
almost 6-year-old.
We don't talk about, we're not having that conversation in front of Lindley. Absolutely not.
Can I just say though, Lindley is so cute because these boys, Candy's boys are just adorable. And Lindley follows after them like a puppy. She just loves having her 3 brothers. And is it not the cutest thing ever?
It is. It is. All right. Another question. If we were all the same age, do you guys think we would be friends?
Yes.
Yeah.
Who's going to say no here? I mean, really?
Oh, Kyle?
I just told you I needed more time with you without my kids.
If we're all the same age, would we be friends?
Would we be hanging out, Kyle? Yeah, I think. Kathy,
You'd
you got
hang
the
out
next
with me,
one?
Kyle, if we were the same age?
I asked Kathy. You didn't. He's talking to me now.
We already hang out. So like
Good answer.
Can I just
Kyle.
say,
Good
we
answer.
just had this vacation in New York. My whole family was there. Like, as I get older, even if I'm not older, I don't know about you, Susan, but time with my family and my kids and my grandkids, like that to me is better than dating some guy who's not worth the time of day anyway. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
No? Yes?
I love it. I just had them here. Yeah, we're jumping in the pool, and my other granddaughter almost drowned. She jumps in, forgot no floaties on. She's so brave.
Kyle, what did you think about Lindley? So, Brittany, we all were in upstate New York. We had a lake house for a week, and Candy's boys were there, and my daughter was there with her baby. And Kyle, what'd you get Lindley to do? And by the way, I was so impressed how you did it. What did you get her to do?
Oh, she was petrified of going on the like the float, being dragged behind a boat.
Oh,
She was really scared. She didn't want to do it. So I finally got her to agree, like, okay, if Daddy goes with me, I'll do it. And so we finally got her out there on it. And then they didn't go too fast. She was like,
Right.
no, I'm going to go kind of slow. But we got going, and she just had the biggest smile on her face. She was so happy. They brought us back the other boats that were tied up, and she was waving at everybody. The
She was
whole boat,
waving.
people was waving back at her.
I
It
will
was-
never forget that.
Yeah.
I will never forget that.
So sweet.
All right,
it's like Toby finally getting swimmies and realizing we could let go of her in the pool, right?
No,
She was so brave.
they're so
she thinks
cute.
she can do anything the older kids can do. So she wants to go tubing. She wants to paddleboard. She's fine on the paddleboard, but the no fear is starting to like worry me because she just goes straight first, like at anything. If she sees,
I mean, look
14
at who her grandmother is. That's all I'm saying. All right, I have a question, and as far as it goes, I'm worried to ask Kyle this, but I'm brave. I'm going to do it.
Thanks for prefacing that.
Yeah. Okay. What is
Preparing you.
and Brittany, I want you to answer too. So, what is one memory, Kyle, in your childhood? What is I'm sure you have several, but what's a memory that really stands out to you of growing up with your perfect mother? Here it comes.
What I remember was you were always, and this is not like a specific memory, but you were always there for us, and you were always taking us to places. So like we did piano lessons, all 3 of us. And I just remember every week consistently, you picked us up from school, you drove us, 30, 45 minutes, whatever it was, out to Meyerland in Houston. And sat there with, a couple hours of us doing lessons, and then took us back home. You were making sure we did our homework. You were a very good mother. You were attentive. You were loving. That's what
I swear I didn't pay him to say this. Oh, Kyle,
Brittany, you
that's so
better be
sweet.
as good as him. No.
Thank you, Kyle. I really
That was
thought you were
beautiful.
going to. I really thought where he was going to go was when they had these piano lessons, and if they hadn't practiced, I'm a big needle pointer. And Kyle, you just
You're going
tell
to
them.
stab him with the.
So no, usually it was me. If I hadn't done the work and hadn't practiced well, and I was having a bad lesson, I knew, and I would look over, and she was sitting. The teacher had like done her garage into a studio, and so it was all carpeted. It was done nice, but my mom was sitting on the floor in front of the couch, And I would just look over past the teacher, and she was just sitting there angrily stabbing her needlepoint canvas, staring like just daggers at me. And I knew the car ride home was going to be terrible.
My kids said to me once, we just knew the ride home was which one is she going to be angry about from their piano lesson. It costs a lot
Brittany,
of
what
money.
about you?
All right, Brittany, what about you? What's your memory?
There's a lot. So I had a jerk high school boyfriend that had cheated on me, and everyone was going to spring break, and I was being left out. So my mom flew me to Cancun and did spring break with me. Or when I drove through our house and she didn't kill me.
Through the garage.
Wait a minute. You drove
Into
to
the family room in my Mercedes. Okay.
She was in the car too.
Wait,
she had her
I'm
permit.
sorry.
was
You
in the
drove
car.
through the garage. Why?
Tell the story. So
She yelled
she
at
has
me,
a
"Push my
permit
foot down."
and
I
she
had
got to
a permit.
drive.
We
I
had
made
a
her pull into the garage. She was scared. And I used to mark on the garage wall a permanent marker, mirror on car here, because I would shut the garage door on the car. It's a single car garage. So I was in the passenger seat, not judging very well. Correct, Brittany?
Yeah.
And she pulls in and I said, no, honey, just ease up on the brake. Mark
And I was
my
like,
words.
no, here's good. Here's good. Here's safe. Here's fine. You can do it. I don't need to go over the lip and into the garage. Like, and she said, Brittany, just do it. And pushed my thigh and vroom, right into the living room.
She got in.
So
I said,
basically
"Ease
what
up
I'm
on
hearing-
the brake."
what
and
I'm
Brittany
hearing,
hit
Susan-
the gas, and we
Susan?
almost killed the dog.
What I'm hearing, Susan, is Brittany was a fine driver, and it's
Yep,
your
yep.
fault.
Who's the best driver in the house?
I don't know. I'm not in your house. I'm the best in my house.
No, you're not.
Yes, I
Hey,
am.
moving right along. Who's the better driver?
Kyle, who's the best driver in our
What?
family?
Candy, Kyle, who's the better driver?
I mean, I would say myself.
Me too.
I would agree.
Okay, I got to chime in here. Kyle is a firefighter and has been, how many years, Kyle?
17.
Okay, 70 years. And literally, I have seen Kyle back into a parking space that you couldn't get a flea out of. It's that wide because he has driven fire engines and you have to back him in and he does it so fast. Like,
I bet
you know,
I could do it.
No, I bet you couldn't.
I bet I could.
Hey, it's an open invitation. Come down and visit. You can put
Next time I'm there, I'm parking the engine.
All right, everyone, that does it for part 1 of this episode. Be sure to stay tuned for part 2 coming later this week when we get into some of your questions with our kids. I don't know, this could be dangerous, but we're going to do it anyway. Thanks for joining us today. We've had a great time.
And make sure you submit your questions to us because we wouldn't be here without those. You can go to bachelornation.com/golden hour. Hit us up on social media at Bachelor Happy Hour. Thanks for joining.